One, and welcome to the Code Enforcement Board regular meeting on Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Please silence your cell phones. I'm doing that now. And Ms. Gehart, can you please call the roll?
Member Cherbini,
Here.
Member Proman,
Here.
Member La Sorsa,
Here.
Member Kaufman,
Here.
Member Perlow,
Here.
Chairperson Schlam,
Here.
Town Attorney Rubin.
Here.
Thank you.
Now we'll all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Swearing in of the public. For those giving testimony related to the case that you're affiliated with, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Anybody who is testifying today, please stand and raise, okay?
If you're going to be speaking.
If you're going to be speaking to us, you have a public comment? Okay, doesn't need to be sworn.
No,
for
it's
that.
just for people who are going to, so just to have. Okay, all right.
So
Then I'll swear.
Questions?
Well, you.
Well, you can ask questions during we don't really have a question and answer format here, but
Yeah, just in case, I'll just.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
okay, and now we have the public comment. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes each. If you would like to address the board about a non-agenda item, please come up to the podium, state your name and your address.
This was a fine reduction hearing
Yeah, you're,
for Margaret O'Mano.
No, that's not what this is. This is public comment.
yeah,
It's
I'm-
public comment. So you're not here for a public comment. You're here, you're actually a case on the agenda, which that's unfinished business. Anyone who's going to speak needs to be sworn in. Okay,
How you doing, everybody, today? Happy New Year.
okay.
Hope we can get.
Can we go back and have a swearing in?
We had already sworn people in, so if you're going to testify, you have to stand and I'm going to swear you in. So stand and raise your right hand, please. Okay. By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, so there were no public comment.
Yes, you can
It's
record it.
being recorded anyway, I believe, right?
No, that's fine.
This is the second term.
Oh, excuse me,
No,
sir.
we're not.
This isn't a free forum here. Okay. We are now on approval of minutes. December 12th, 2023. The minutes from December 12th, 2023. Are there any corrections to the minutes from December 12th? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 12th, 2023? Second, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Aye. Okay, now we're on unfinished business. And we have case number CC 2023 02-014. It's a fine reduction request. Margaret Umano, 2565 South Ocean Boulevard, Unit 303 North. That's the townhouses of Highland Beach. The violation was an expired permit and missing address numbers. I believe this was tabled,
Twice.
it was tabled on August 8th and then again on October 10th because the requester who's requesting for fine reduction, was not present at either meeting. On December 12th, the requester was not present and the board made the following motion made by, Jane Perlow, which was to deny the request for a fine reduction. And that motion passed on a 6-0.
So if I could, Mr. Chair. So at the last meeting, the respondent wasn't here, but that was the town's error in notifying when the meeting was, date and time. So the town's requesting that the board vacate the prior order and hear the case today.
Okay. Well, in that case, I turn it over to Mr.
Well,
Azalski.
yeah, can I have a motion of that? I mean,
Well,
somebody make a motion to vacate the prior order, then we'll hear it.
okay, based on the fact that it was a town error, we need a motion to vacate our prior order, which was denying the fine reduction. So, anybody? Second,
Second.
all in favor, we have to do a roll call on this.
You don't need a roll call.
No, we don't?
All in favor?
Aye.
You're good.
Okay, now I turn it over to Mr. Wazowski.
Good afternoon. This is case number CC 2023-02-014. I am Adam Osowski, Town of Highland Beach Code Compliance Officer, and I've been previously sworn in. The respondent is Margaret Omano. The property address is 2565 South Ocean Boulevard, 303N. This case was originally heard at the Code Board hearing on May 9th, 2023. The board ruled the respondent had 30 days to come into compliance or a fine of $250 per day would be imposed. On December 14th, 2023, the respondent notified the town requesting this case be heard so the owner's representative can request a fine reduction. The first request was scheduled for August 8th, 2023, but the respondents failed to show. The second request was scheduled for October 10th, 2023, but several days before the hearing, the respondents requested another postponement. As the town attorney said, this was supposed to be at last month's hearing, but due to miscommunication, we're rescheduling it for today. We are here today to only hear a request for a fine reduction. We are not here to rehear the case. The property was in violation for 6 days after the date set for compliance. As of today, the total fine is $1,500.
Are there any questions? $1,500. And we've already decided that the violation was committed. For 7 days it was a 7 day, 5 days. Was that a flat
6 days.
6 days? Is that an accumulation, that 1,000, or that was that
6 days times the $250 is $1,500.
Okay.
So it's a total.
And that's without the cost for,
They paid the cost of prosecution.
oh, they did.
Yes, because cost of prosecution is separate from the fine.
Okay. So now we have any more questions for Mr. Azowski? In that case, I will let the vendor come up and speak. He's been sworn in. Well, I would like whoever is speaking on behalf of Margaret Umano.
She didn't, she got sworn in.
Did she get sworn in?
She,
She didn't get sworn in? That she can't.
By the authority vested in me as a notary of the state of Florida, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
So in hearing.
All right, first
who
of
are
all, let's get your name and your address.
Dana Pomerantz. I am the trustee for Margaret Omano. We were never notified of anything because the address on record was a former address in New York from 17 years ago. It was updated after I spoke with Adam. Everything is up to date as far as that goes. The initial complaint was a result of the homeowners association, not Mr. Omano or myself. And there never should have been a fine, which I explained, but for some reason, it never got.
First of all, why was your address, that old address, never updated? Was that a mistake by the post office, or did you ever,
Well, there were
did you-
deaths in the family and, you
so
know,
you just failed to update your address?
correct,
So-
the
Okay.
title address of the property. But I really need Michael to talk because I'm deaf.
Okay,
Oh,
It's really his story to tell and hopefully you'll understand.
okay, thank you. All right, Mr. What's with the bags?
yeah, what's with the,
This is what's called photo document evidence use
Abuse?
that I've taken
Uh-huh.
from the townhouses in Highland Beach board
Oh,
since I've been living there for 25 years.
okay, yeah,
And this is something that has gone back since I moved in as a 37-year-old man. And I have a deck that overlooks the ocean and the intercoastal. That's what this is about. And I built my own deck when I moved in. They didn't give me any money to do that. Shortly after I finished, they come to me and say they have to remove my deck. Maybe let us see what my deck look like, what it's supposed to look like. I can give you. Nobody wants to see.
that's all right. It's,
People have already made their decisions, or don't want to see anything.
No,
I just want to be more-
The issue is they can't go back. The violation is the violation. We're not rehearing the violation.
Yeah.
It's just whether the fine should be reduced. That's it.
I
no,
understand that.
not only that, but he's bringing up a completely separate the action that he should
Well-
maybe file a complaint.
No, I-
with the state.
That's Mr. Amato.
My name is Michael Omano.
okay,
And
Okay,
again, it
Mike.
seems to me that this committee has already made up their decision, and the four members on the outside who seem interested in what I have to say are silenced by the two members in the middle. And that is very obvious to me, and it's obvious on the other recordings we have taken. Now, I already know what he's going to say. He's already made his mind up, and he's not willing to listen.
Sir, I haven't made up my mind about anything other than the fact
You're
that
interrupting me while I'm
this is the
speaking.
wrong forum.
Am I allowed to speak, or I don't interrupt you when you're speaking, do I? I don't.
This,
So let me speak. You don't want to hear anything. I can see you're shaking your head. You're not into this whole thing. You already want to take the money. But you don't understand who created this whole situation.
okay,
It was the board
right.
that removed the numbers off of my door. I did not remove the numbers. They were supposed to resand my door. The man that was supposed to do it was an employee by the name of Harry. He removed the numbers. He was supposed to sand the door, stain it, and put the numbers back on. He was fired after he removed my numbers. Once I found out from Mr. Rosowski that the numbers were off the door,
Mhm.
within 18 hours, I believe I had those numbers on the door. And when I found out that the wood needed to be restacked because the board sent their workers to stack the lumber, what they failed to do was put a strap around the lumber. They bought a cheap strap from Home Depot that failed. And what happened is the lumber tilted over. They were the ones that stacked it erroneously. Once I found out about this, I was there within 2 days.
because the boards are 20 feet long, and I just came off a triple hernia operation, and I could not lift the boards myself.
Yeah.
So within 3 days, I had help to start, but I finished it on my own to get it done. I contacted Mr. Wasowski with photos to let him know, and he said, you're in compliance. Thank you very much. He also said that if I paid the $250, that he was going to recommend that the fine be reduced significantly, but it wasn't up to him. It was up to the board. So in complete contrast to what he had said to me and a witness, Mr.
Huh?
Petrowski, he came in here and recommended that it does not get reduced, which is the opposite of what he told me. And that's why I paid the $250 to start. He was very nice. I said, nice to meet you. And, you know, I want to have a good relationship with you guys. I've been here 30 years, never had any problems, so.
Okay.
I did not create this problem. That deck that you see is the responsibility of the board to build my deck. They removed a $60,000 deck. They were supposed to spend $80,000 to rebuild it. They still to this day have not done that. I haven't even been in my apartment in 6 years because it's too embarrassing to go up there.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, sir,
Do
and
you
look,
understand?
yes, I do,
Can you
I
can
do.
you explain to me what?
I'm gonna, yes,
Let me
what
hear
you're saying,
I want to make sure you understand.
this is what, that you were not at fault with these numbers, with the deck. The
What-
deck should have been completed and everything should have been done by your board at the town of Highland Beaches, not by you, but by your board. Okay, but see, the thing is, today, that would have been, if you would have come in when we were hearing the case, that might have swayed some people, but today we're not hearing the facts of the case.
Well,
We're only hearing about the fine, which it's already been established in the record that you committed the fine. And maybe if you were here, you could have straightened that out, but you were not here 3 times. Today, we're only here on the fine, and you're asking for a reduction of the fine.
I'm asking for elimination of. the fine,
You're asking
because
for an
I already paid-
elimination of the
I have
fine.
already paid $500, which was not attached to me, and I'm willing to let that go. And let's call it a day, because this $1,500 is a real problem. I did not, if I created the problem, then I would be willing to pay for the problem. I'm not a person that is gonna shove my responsibility onto the next man. I'm a straight guy that talks to you straight in the face, and I expect the same. I don't expect chicanery. I don't expect decisions to be made without being heard. I was never served properly. I never got the information because due to a lot of the deaths, it wasn't updated, the address.
Well,
Now,
listen,
we have 2 employees in the office at Highland Beach that Mr. Osowski could have gotten my name from, but he chose not to get it. He did not attempt
Okay.
seriously to get a hold of me.
you know, I'm gonna defer to our town attorney
Please.
and let him,
Well,
just,
again, whether you
Legally
received the
speaking.
notice or not, that was already determined. If there was a challenge to the notice, that would have had to been challenged when the initial order was entered. Again, we're just talking fine reduction. We're not revisiting notice. We're not revisiting whether there was a violation or not. It's just whether this fine should be reduced. That's what.
We're not talking fine reduction because they themselves have said they're not reducing the fine.
They did not,
Well, that's
Mr.
what-
Amato.
Okay,
I don't understand what this, the board is hearing the case. That's what they're here to, so you present the evidence, whatever you want to present. and
but
the
we're
board
only
will
hearing a
decide.
fine reduction, okay? Which is not a final elimination, it's a fine reduction.
I mean,
And the
it
fine.
could be, but that's up to the board.
well, in light of the fact that I had an attorney here on the 14th, due to the town telling me to be here on the 14th, but yet you convened, on what day did they convene? On, well, when did you convene the last time?
12.
You convened on the 12th. Portraying me as the person that disregarded your meeting. I did not disregard your meeting. I hired an attorney. I brought a witness who knows everything about this case. We showed up. The attorney has to get paid. Who's gonna pay the attorney? He did not want to come back here because while we were waiting to see Mr. Osowski, the police showed up
Mhm.
in
Yep.
full riot gear and scared the attorney off. He didn't want to come back. Who's gonna pay that bill? Are you
Again,
gonna pay the bill?
no,
Are
and,
you gonna pay the bill?
and this,
Who's gonna pay that bill?
Mr. Romano, you're not helping yourself because again, the board, this is not an issue for this board. This board's only issue is whether they wish to reduce the
I
fine or
am
not.
paying $500.
We can't. because
Mr.
it's
Romano,
not on
that
the
is not
agenda.
within their
See,
purview.
if you want to appeal it, there's a process that you can appeal.
Well, it's too late to appeal
It's
it.
too late to
There we
appeal.
go.
You can go with the circuit court, right?
No, at every moment,
No,
you guys
too
want
late.
to slam the door. You
Well-
never even, you guys not even hearing the facts. You're not hearing. it.
Well, you know,
Did you say that you paid $500?
I did.
We have received.
Yes, I have copies of the check for you. I have copies of the check for you.
Adam,
and Mr. Ozowski, while you're up there, he's also stating, you want to respond, he's stating that you said that you were going to recommend a reduced fine in this case.
Yes, I'll address all that. So the first is Mr. Romano had two different code hearings, two different cases, two different hearings. It's $250 cost of prosecution that the board imposed. That is the town cost that by state statute we can recuperate. It has nothing to do with the fine that we're here today for $1,500. My previous conversation, as I explained, with all fine reductions, is the town is not gonna entertain a fine reduction if the costs are not paid. In this case, it's $250, $500 for both. So that was paid. The costs are good. That's why we're here. What I then said is it's up to the board if for their decision, if or how much they want to reduce it, if at all.
So there were two separate violations. Each one is prosecuted at $250 as administrative fee.
Correct,
Totaling 500,
correct.
and that's been paid.
Yes,
And then there's an additional, so that I understand, there's an additional $1,500 that's outstanding as a violation of the code, correct?
correct.
That was $250 a day, 6 days.
$250 for 6 days. He was given 30 days to comply. It was 6 days after that.
Yeah.
And within 48 hours, I took care of everything, and I went down there and I apologized.
See,
He was very nice at that day. I trusted.
yep. Well, let me explain something. See, the thing is with code enforcement, you can't take this stuff personally, all right? Somebody has to be held responsible. And according to our town code, it's the homeowner. Okay, so it could be your contractors, it could be your building that was supposed to do something. You hired a company to take care of it. We have a lot of, snowbirds here that don't live here. They're in another state. And,
Not
and
relevant.
things go awry and it's not their fault, but somebody. Okay, you're a resident. So what was
Paying
the,
taxes,
what was-
$1,000 in taxes.
what was the address that went up to, up somewhere that was a bad address in New York? Didn't you mention an address?
Yes, the
that
original
was
order
not
went,
served?
It went to a warehouse we own.
Warehouse?
So
Okay,
I was never notified because it wasn't his fault. I'm not blaming him. It was just miscommunication. And I've already been, look, I've taken people away from their jobs.
No.
I take this very serious. I would never disrespect you guys.
you said you haven't lived in the apartment
Yes, I've been
for
forced out.
6 years.
It's too embarrassing to go up there. My deck is a shambles.
Oh.
They destroyed, I only bought it for the deck, that was it. I can't go out. My father, my mother, before they died, they could not come up. It was too embarrassing, honestly. My daughter can't bring them up. I can't bring them up. When the police came up, I had to file 3 reports. They didn't want to go out in the deck. They were too afraid. I have the reports.
does anyone on the board, anyone have any more questions? For Mr. Romano or any?
So who initiated the deck repair?
The board,
And who is paying for all of
the
that?
board. The board, I have proof.
So then why aren't you suing them in order to become whole?
Because you have to pay an attorney $20,000 to sue.
That's it.
But, listen, I have suffered, and the unfortunate thing here is the board manipulated the city and weaponized the city. I'm gonna have a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that's coming down the pipe. And I don't want the city part and parcel of that. I want to get along with my city. I want to get along with my city. My beef is with them. I'll give you $500, I'm done with it, I'll walk away, I'll seek restitution from them. But I want you on a human level to understand that nobody disrespected for it. I did not disrespect Mr. LaSalle. I gave him nothing but respect. I came there like this with my hand. What do you want me to do now? Whatever you say. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Whatever you say, I'm gonna do right away. And I will give you the evidence. He told me that he was gonna recommend the reduction. I came here, did the opposite. I was shocked. I was shocked. He said, I'm telling you that you shouldn't reduce it. I was like, who would I have? Who would I go?
He didn't exactly say
I
that.
said, "There."
No, that's not, what he said is that you're obligated to pay the cost before we can even consider a fine reduction. You did pay the cost. That's why we're here considering it. And now we've heard what you had to say and, if you would just let the, yeah.
Can I show you documents? Can you take a look at some documents? This is the whole problem. I mean, why do I bring you 25 pounds a day?
You could show that to your condo attorney that you should. What? Okay, well, I would recommend that you get one.
That I pay tax, that
Right.
pays for his salary, and they didn't return
We
his salary.
can't do anything.
Pays for Mr. South's salary. That's what I'm here for. Why am I being prosecuted? And from a little town that's my law that I love.
Right.
I'm not a drifter. I didn't come in here and try to flip an apartment and leave. I'm a resident here. And I'm being treated like I'm some type of invader. It's
Right.
ridiculous on every level. I paid you the $500. Let's call it a day. Let me go on with my life. Let this man go back to work. Let's not have an issue with the town. Let me be in peace, leave. That's what I'm asking for. Have some understanding.
There was another question here. Do you have a question,
Yes, sir.
sir?
Mr. Amano, I'm curious. This is the first I hear of your case. And I'm just curious. This has been going on since May. The board has asked you to appear several times and hang on. The board has asked you to appear several times and you haven't been. And nobody appeared on your behalf, as I understand it. What I want to understand is why? Why wasn't someone here sooner to make this argument?
Right from the very first start.
Ms. Pomerantz, you can't speak from the audience. Please stay on the record.
Last Christmas, I went out and bought myself some Christmas presents. I sent it to my building. The mailman put it on top of the box. Everything got stolen. My sneakers, all of that stuff. I asked, how did this happen? Why didn't you put it in the lockbox? He said to me, your mailbox has been red tagged. I no longer deliver the mail to you. This is what I found out. So I wasn't even getting my mail. So even if it went to Highland Beach, I wouldn't have got it because the mailman was sending it back. This is what happened. And then I had to correct that and say, why don't you on your own volition decide to stop my mail? What gave you the right to do that? He said, well, I went into the office and they said you don't live here anymore. I said, well, I'm paying expenses. How much do I pay every month? $6,500 a year. Yesterday, all I'm doing is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for a place that has destroyed me and a city that wasn't there for me. And I needed the city to make it the board or say to the board, what you've done here is crazy. The city abandoned me. Instead, they sided with the board and the board recognized the city. The city has realized now, years later, that they were used by the board.
Which board?
The townhouse in Highland Beach.
Yeah, the townhouse is on Highland Beach.
They did this so they could skirt their responsibility and not pay to finish the debt because they paid the contractor $57,000 out of $70,000. And you know what the contractor did? Take a guess.
Stop work?
He said, bye. He closed his company, and went bankrupt, and I can show you the documents for his bankruptcy. I can show you the contract. Everything here is all about the city. And on top of that, when he started this job, the board, not me, gave him $30,000 to begin. He was supposed to pull a notice of convention and he's supposed to provide a permit. He did neither. The board out of their, he was very charismatic, so they gave him the money. And he just was taken from it. And he happened to be very good friends with the president of the board. Because he did all the windows in our building. So he completed all that. The last thing he was supposed to do was build this deck for $75,000. He got $57,000, he did $10,000 worth of work, and he left.
So is the answer to your question, sir, that you never received the notices because you didn't receive the mail? My question was, why haven't you been here in the past? Is your answer that you never received the notices?
That's the first. The second one, I brought down a witness. A man by the name of Mr. Petrowski, a builder. And I said to Mr. Petrowski that all of these documents are to be forwarded to Mr. Petrowski. Shortly before the first court date, Mr. Petrowski and Mr. Petrowski had a conversation. And Mr. Petrowski said to Mr. Petrowski, I cannot send you any information, and I can no longer talk to you because you are not a notarized speaker of this premises. I am, and I am not an email person. I'm a person that needs people to remind me of dates. We intimidated Mr. Petrowski. Mr. Petrowski failed to tell me that I was supposed to be there on the 8th. That was an error on Mr. Petrowski's part. Ultimately, it falls on me. Okay, now, after that, we got everything straightened out. And prior to the next meeting that I was supposed to be there for, I would say to myself, I better cover every single base. I went through, I had spent 100 hours on this, freaking out about it, because it's a matter of principle. This has been bothering me for I can't even.
Maybe should he come to the main board, I mean, the commission meeting and maybe he could get on the agenda and, you know?
No,
they could
Can I
spend,
just-
put it, no?
I don't see what the commission, I
Can
mean,
I say something?
Well, we certainly
the
can't.
discrete, well, the larger issue between him and the association, that's not relevant for this.
Word in America. The word can does not apply in this forum. You are people.
What?
Listen. You have your position, but you failed to listen to what he said a half hour ago.
I failed to listen to
Right.
anyone.
What did he say? Why
You
we're
tell me
here?
what he said. You tell me what he said.
Okay, since you want to answer a question with a
I'm
question,
asking
I'm
what
gonna
he
answer.
said.
He said you're here for a fine reduction. That's all we could look at.
That's-
We understand all the issues. If you want to
You
get,
don't understand. You couldn't possibly.
Right.
The only way to understand the issues is for me to spend time with the town attorney.
no,
I would be happy
we-
to give him 10 hours of my time.
we
And I would be
eliminated.
happy to give this committee 10 hours of my time.
We're
and sit
limited.
down with me.
What's
We
your
are
schedule look like
limited
next
to what
week?
we can understand because
Oh.
we're a code board. So let us actually make a motion and take a vote. And then if you're not happy with that, you have remedies.
Listen, what the city is trying to do.
It's not the city.
It's not the city.
This town, what they're trying to do. They're trying and been threatening me for days and weeks and months.
Who has? Him?
Yes,
He's
we're
the
putting a
nicest
lien
guy.
on your property. We're putting a lien with threatening letters. The lien is on. We're putting the lien on tomorrow. It's too late. The lien is on.
Those-
Threatening me constantly.
Those are regulation papers that you're getting that everyone has to get.
You're trying to hear anything.
We're not here for that
We're not-
decision.
we're-
We're here for.
This
the
was to
violation.
mitigate. It was a mitigation hearing. That's,
And I quote from the two in the middle, Mr. Schlam and Ms. Perlo. It started out with, and it's on the report, it simply said, we are not here to reduce any fines. We have already made a decision. That is a done deal.
no. That's not what we said. Okay, it did not say that. I did not say anything about, we're not reduced. I said, we're not here to relitigate the issue of whether a violation occurred because it was already determined.
The fine stays. If you're not here to
No.
discuss it,
And you could have
No.
appealed it.
Mr. Chairman, this board does, so once you don't comply with the order, then it does become a lien. but this is the mechanism to reduce that lien. All this board can do is decide whether to reduce the lien or not reduce the lien.
It's very simple.
So they're not here to rehear the case. They're not here to talk about the notice.
This board sees as a man up here that's in distress.
I don't think you're in
Oh,
distress.
you
I
think I'm-
think
Do you think I'm acting?
no, I think
Listen, Frank,
you-
am I acting?
Okay.
Okay.
Am I acting?
Listen.
All right, I'm
here's the
putting
thing.
it up
Okay.
with the kibosh on this hearing. We've given you 35 minutes. This is probably the longest fine reduction hearing in the history of Highland Beach. So at this point, we've heard everything that we're gonna hear from both sides. We've heard from code enforcement, and we are going to deliberate amongst ourselves now, and perhaps somebody will make a motion. Perhaps some,
Anybody that
perhaps.
thinks that that's listening to what I said, please allow me to come in. I want to share everything. I put everything in here, so I'm not hiding anything. I want to tell you everything. I'm not here to, my board is this evening. I am on the people.
I would recommend you hire an attorney for,
5,000.
Well,
And
listen,
now there's
that-
maybe one last thing. Who is going to pay for the attorney that was here on the 14th? That the city made an appointment for me. How are you going to punish yourself?
That's not for this board.
Sir,
I-
how are you going to punish the city?
I'm not gonna do anything.
Okay, so you can allow the city to tell me to come to court with an attorney and have me come here on the wrong
He
day?
doesn't want
Yes.
you to come to,
We didn't force you to hire an attorney.
he said, go against your board with an attorney, not the town. That's what he
This is
suggested.
what I'm saying. what I'm
I
saying.
understand. He's talking about the last time.
Mr. Amato.
We had an attorney here.
They had me coming on the 14th of December. Meanwhile, you had a hearing on the 12th. You guys were mad at me because you
No one's
thought,
mad at you.
you made a decision to put a judgment and a lien on me because you thought I didn't show up again.
That's not the lien.
We didn't think
Dates back to
anything.
last
You went
year.
right by the procedure.
Yes, but it's viewed and it said that they put the judgment on you and they put a motion, put a lien on you. Because you thought I didn't show up again. It was the city that told me to be here on the 12th.
You could have appealed our decision. You had 30 days. You could have,
Have a chance to speak to you before a decision is made. This is the
Okay.
first time I'm getting a chance to speak.
we're ready to do our deliberations now. Go ahead. Bailiff, could we help?
I agree he is a citizen. And he might have some little person, it depends on what you want to vote.
Okay, well, do you want, someone has a proposition,
Well, he put out 1,000, no, it's 500 already, and his fine fee that they leave. is
1,500,
another
right?
1,500. So,
that was $250 a day for the
Right.
5 days,
so
6 days.
I understand his position, and I know he's a citizen. I would make a motion that we lessen his fine, which would be.
It's not on there.
Just
Not on
It's just a motion to reduce to whatever the amount you believe is.
500 instead of 1,500?
Yeah.
Go for it.
He is a
Go
citizen.
for
He's
it.
been here for decades.
Thanks.
Have a safe day.
Have a good one. So, it says here, I would turn this over to a town attorney, Len Rubin. No, we don't do that. Okay. New business. There is no new business. Okay, now we have announcements. January 11th, 9:30 AM, we have a planning board regular meeting. January 15th, Town Hall closed in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. February 6th, 1:30 PM, Town Commission meeting. February 13th, at 1 PM is our next code enforcement meeting. That's the day before Valentine's Day. So everybody, before we adjourn, do what I'm doing here. And make sure that you, I already have it in, so we're good for that. And 1:44, we are adjourned. Wow.
Good job.
And I thought this was gonna be a quick one, you know?